Hi, I'm Michaela Zent. I'm a faculty member here at the University of Michigan in the School for Environment and Sustainability, as well as School of Education and our liberal arts college. How has environmental education changed since the first Earth Day in 1970? Many changes have taken place. For one, we have now really moved towards what many call sustainability education, or education for sustainability, or education for sustainable development. And it came about with the recognition that it's not anymore just about the environment and preserving and protecting the environment, but it's also about recognizing that what happens with regards to the environment is very much connected to the economy and to other phenomena in society. And so the idea of sustainability education is that we must think about the three E's: the environment, the economy, and equity. And that has led to fundamental changes in the content, what we teach about the environment, as well as how we teach about the environment, and the pedagogies that we use, the type of instructions we use to teach about the environment. I would say another big thing that has changed is we've recognized how important it is to not focus on fear and raising concern about the environment, but really generating a positive vision of what's possible. What would the future look like? What would a sustainable future look like? And that we then provide educational opportunities for all kinds of learners to help realize that vision. One of the leading thinkers in environmental education actually worked right here at the University of Michigan in the 1960s through 1990. His name was Professor Bill Stapp. And many consider Bill Stapp the founding father of environmental education. Not only did he establish the field here at the University of Michigan, but he actually really established a field internationally. It is thanks to him that we focused on building individuals' awareness, knowledge, changing their attitudes, enhancing their skills, all with the intent to empower people to bring about environmental changes. That tradition of environmental education that Bill created here at the University of Michigan still holds. Many environmental education and sustainability education programs across the world focus on empowering individuals to act on environmental and now sustainability changes. So one of the things that has changed over time is that we now have the Sustainable Development Goals. These goals focus on bringing about a vision around a world with no hunger, no poverty, changes in the economy that help make that possible, fundamental changes in our educational system, and so on. Traditionally, in environmental education, we've really focused in on the environment and preserving and conserving the environment, but we did really not have clear goals in our mind of what that actually means. And as I mentioned earlier, not only are we at this point focusing on the environment, but we're also focusing on the economy and society, including justice and environmental justice issues and social justice issues. And that's a fundamental change to what we were thinking about in the 1970s, because we simply didn't recognize all the interlinkages that actually exist. The Sustainable Development Goals that have been developed try to address the fact that we acknowledge that there's all these linkages between hunger and poverty and the economy and education. We now, as environmental educators and sustainability educators, no longer just focus on the environmental issues, such as another Sustainable Development Goal, which is focused on climate action, but we also recognize that we need to address all these other elements within the economy, society, the environment, if we want to have a sustainable future for us all. So what does the future of education for sustainability look like? We don't know yet, but there are so many exciting things happening. For example, more and more educators are recognizing that children can play a role in educating their parents about a range of environmental issues. For example, there recently was a study, and it focused on climate change and how children can actually teach their parents about climate change. One of the reasons for that is that parents trust their children. And so when children come home and talk, for example, about climate change, parents start to listen. Whereas in other contexts or with other individuals, they might not actually be convinced about the climate science. One other really exciting trend that I'm seeing in the field of education for sustainability is that we're moving towards collaboration on so many fronts. For example, historically, environmental organizations, government agencies, and even industry have all supported a range of environmental education programs, but they've done it on their own. And what I'm excited about now is that people are coming together, including in particular regions, and they're trying to figure out what goals do we all have in common around a particular issue, let's say improving our watershed. And what I'm seeing is these organizations coming together, agreeing to work on a common watershed education goal, and then all collaborating with each other and working with each other, including on common joint programs, to actually have an impact on the watershed. And as a result of these collaborative efforts, I think that environmental education will have a far greater impact in actually bringing about changes in the environment than it has in the past.